Mickey Cavill, this guy again. Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and today it's Hot Takes Tuesdays. So today we are gonna do my unpopular opinion, an absolutely nuclear, spicy as a vindaloo hot take that our panel today, Philosophical Pickle and JG Shaolin, are going to react to live. Now, of course, they do not know what my hot take is yet. So you're going to find out with them exactly what my hot take is and see their response live on Hot Takes Tuesdays. All right. So, guys,
I'm excited, man.
Quickly?
I'm nervous.
What's up, guys? Philosophical Pickle. Check me out on YouTube.
JG Shaolin, terrific, man. Taking names. Oh, fuck, screwed it up. Anyway, yo. I'm
taking names and eating ass.
There you go. Taking names, kicking ass for a living, man. Let's do this. I'm so nervous. What you got?
And check out our last, we have 5 episodes of Hot Takes Tuesdays. This is episode 6. We've had some spicy takes, but I'm excited to see how spicy this one is.
All right. So, look. Basically, in honor of the new Venom trailer, I wanted to discuss something around that. I didn't know quite how to title this, but so I didn't know quite how to title this, but I came up with the best title I can. Obviously, maybe you can help me make it a little bit more punchy later, Philosophical Pickle. But okay. Here we go. Here is my hot take revealed to you for the first time. Should we try and put collaborative Kiwi on one more time?
I mean, sure, it's up to you.
He's not pissed off at you.
let's start this first, and then we'll see. All right. So here's my hot take, guys.
I've been waiting all day for this.
MCU will make worse X-Men movies than Fox, like they did with Spider-Man.
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Oh, my God.
Because I can go either way with this, man. This is a tough one. You did it to me again, man. Did it to me again.
MCU will make worse X-Men movies. I honestly believe this. That they will make worse X-Men movies, much like they did with Spider-Man.
No, man, I have to agree with you.
Yeah, me too, man. This is
what?
There's no debate here, bro.
What do you
debate? Now, if you do it by character, then we may have an argument. But
okay.
Oh, shit.
As Nerdman likes to say, let's unpack this.
Yeah, because I'm just...
So, I think that there are only 2 great X-Men movies. X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past. X1, X2, X3, Wolverine, Apocalypse, fucking Dark Phoenix. What's the other one? Is that all of them?
I think Logan's pretty damn good.
Logan. So there are 3, I think 3 amazing X-Men movies. So if you're saying if their track record, but maybe the MCU will be better because the track record was so bad at Fox.
Yeah, I wish you were as well.
I don't think that the way the MCU is going and the fact that they kind of water down everything, and even though I love it, all the movies kind of. What's up, man? You back?
Yeah, I'm good. I just went and bought Wi-Fi from my apartment, so I should have very good Wi-Fi connection. Cost me a hell of a lot more money though.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right, great.
You want to tell them you want to re-say the hot take?
So the hot take of this week. So this is my unpopular opinion. Is that the MCU will make worse X-Men movies than Fox, much like they did with Spider-Man. So the MCU, I believe, has made worse Spider-Man movies, and this is all because of what? This is all because of yeah, it is a hot take. It's all because the Venom trailer came out, and I was just, what did everyone think of the Venom trailer? By the way, where Sony's obviously still got Venom as they still own Spider-Man as an IP. And I'm glad they still own Spider-Man because you do get things like into the Spider-Verse, but at the same
Oh, yeah.
time, you know, and I think their collaboration with the MCU has been what has made Spider-Man like the Spider-Man movies a little bit different from the MCU in general, and I do like them a little bit more. But still, the MCU-ness of the Spider-Man has, you know, been a problem with like how he's, you know, he hasn't got his Uncle Ben, he hasn't got, you know,
Nerdman,
like
did you see Avi Arad, the producer of all the Spider-Man movie, who works for Sony? He is. It came out that he was the one who made them remove Uncle Ben and put Iron Man in there because he's an incompetent twat.
Wow.
And guess what, dude? Look it up. Avi
Ooh.
Arad. He was the one who was responsible for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man. He was a producer on the original ones. He apparently was the one that came out that said, no, we got to fucking suck Iron Man's dick and go all in on Iron Man. He is a moron. He's an idiot. And guess what? I'm not excited. I'm not excited for Venom.
Right.
Venom looks.
You're going a bit far there, dude.
No. Venom looks terrible.
Dude, if he's
not just bad.
produced all the Spider-Man movies, don't you think he would have been a little bit sick of Uncle Ben? No, you're dead. Yeah. Dude, he won't be sick to death of it. He's just like,
he's an old.
He's
Wait, guys, let Kiwi speak. Go on, Kiwi, go on.
All I'm trying to say is that being a producer on all of those films, that's what, 3? There's a lot. There's like what?
5.
7?
Well, 7 now, yeah.
Right? Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
He's not going to go and want to go and put Uncle Ben and dying every single time and have that whole storyline. He wants to do something fresh for the audience. It's like, okay, here we go. We have this story.
Then why make Iron Man the Uncle Ben instead? Like what?
Because
you know, if you want to do something,
why?
Why do you need to fill that part of the story and just do him as Spider-Man?
Like
he's in it.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
why make everything else?
Okay. Take Iron Man out of the film and then ask yourself, what's the story now?
Dude, I love Homecoming. I think it's good that Iron Man's in there.
Doesn't have a suit. Doesn't have the.
What do you mean he doesn't have a suit? He's a scientist.
Halfway through that movie. What?
Spider-Man, Peter Parker's supposed to be a scientist. He's supposed to be able to make his own suit.
Yeah, but he's a kid.
Yeah.
I like Homecoming.
What do you mean?
So
I think for Homecoming is at best okay, and it's like the 4th now after Enter the Spider-Verse. It's like the 5th best Spider-Man movie.
Just hate it,
so you've got. I would take Spider-Man 3 over like the.
You can shut up. No.
Homecoming. I honestly would take.
I don't know, dude. I might take Homecoming over Spider-Man 3.
Homecoming is a great movie, not just a good.
And
movie,
I hate both of them.
Thank you.
But let me finish shitting on Avi Arad. If you look at those leaked Sony emails from like 6 years ago or whatever, he said some of the most idiotic things I've ever seen somebody say about Spider-Man. And the only reason that people stopped him, it was because Kevin Feige or Amy Pascal stopped him from doing just atrocious things to Spider-Man. So he was the one who changed Uncle Ben. It's just like the fact that they keep the suit, they keep the web, they keep him being a kid. They made everything comic accurate. But for some reason, they just wouldn't do Uncle Ben again. I just think Avi Arad is an idiot. And you see his comments about Spider-Man. You look at, because Kevin Feige was a producer on the old X-Men movies, and those movies are not good. So, like, producing old movies, I don't think represents.
Do you guys know what producer does?
Yes. Wait a second. Look, guys, we're going to have to come back round to the actual hot take this week, right? And I know we're kind of covering it. But JG Shaolin, what do you make of my hot take this week? MCU will make worse X-Men movies than Fox.
I agree with you on that because we see what I know Philosoph Pickle loves, Tom Holland Spider-Man. I tend to hate it. But you see the trend with these X-Men movies, right? The first one is usually good. Then the next one's kind of okay. Then it kind of trickles down, right? Then we get to the Michael Fassbender Magneto X-Men movies, right? First one's good. The second one is trending in the right direction. Then it drops off, right? And what the MCU does is they take these characters and make their own little story around them. And so we see with the Tom Holland Spider-Man where whether you like it or not, to some people that is the Spider-Man that they want, right?
Yeah, they
But
like.
the people
But
around Spider-Man are
my,
so
my,
ridiculously inaccurate, right?
yeah,
And that's what I fear about what this is going
what they'll do
MCU
with
is
the
going to do with
X-Men.
X-Men. They'll have
Well,
a couple characters cool, but then they'll just butcher everybody else that surrounds them.
Well, I'll tell you why I've come up with this hot take. All right. So you mentioned something that I want to piggyback off of. Now, Spider-Man is already a character where, like, I don't think the movies are terrible, the Spider-Man movies, right, in the MCU, but I certainly don't think they're of the quality and of the artistic merit that the previous Spider-Mans, like the Raimi Spider-Man or the first Amazing Spider-Man had. I think they had a unique kind of voice directorial voice that the MCU Spider-Man don't have. Same with Into the Spider-Verse. But I will say this, Spider-Man fits the tone of the MCU. As a character, he really fits the tone of the MCU. So what they've done in terms of messing on with his character, I don't think is going to be as garish as what we're going to get with the X-Men. The X-Men's themes are dark. These are characters that are living in a world of prejudice, and they're fighting for equality, and there's mutant extremists, there's people who have come from whose origins are in the concentration camps of Auschwitz. You've got all of that dark kind of material, and whatever you want to say about Fox, at least they could kind of go there sometimes. They went there with Logan. They went there with X-Men, First Class. They're able to go to places that the MCU simply wouldn't. Even Deadpool, exactly. And I like the second Deadpool movie. I like the second Deadpool movie. I wasn't a massive fan of the first one, just because Deadpool's humor kind of is weird and stuff. But in general, I thought I was, the genesis of this actually came from me feeling I'm actually upset that the MCU bought Fox and bought that IP. I really wish it had have remained. Like maybe they could have done a thing like with Sony are doing with the MCU, where they can kind of borrow them the IP while doing their own movies at the same time. I would have much preferred that than just giving the X-Men outright to the MCU. And everything I'm hearing about how they want to introduce the X-Men into this universe just sounds like more bullshit to me that is just at core not really what the X-Men are and what they're about. So that's my first argument. So what do you guys make of that?
Well, I'll say this, man. Kiwi, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say, I don't agree with you on the point, but I would like to make interesting, not like an argument, but like sort of like a question as well. Like, the fact is, Marvel did go and screw up WandaVision majorly. And that was sort of like a mutant story.
Right.
And so if they can't do that right, how do we know that they're not going to do the X-Men right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I've got to say on the matter.
But also look at this, right? Now I'm gonna go into another property, which is the Eternals is supposed to introduce the mutants coming into the world, right? How dark is the Eternals going to be, right? Because you're right, Nerdman. X-Men is very dark. It's very political, right? If we get the same politics we saw in Falcon Winter Soldier, it's going to be horrible. That forced political, that forced diversity, that force, you can't force these things with the X-Men, right? It has to live within their universe. And so, like, what was the X-Men movie where you see Magneto and Professor Xavier coming into the diner? Sit next to Wolverine, and he says, "Go fuck yourself." Can you imagine the MCU doing something like that?
Future Past.
Yeah, can you imagine that? It was funny and it fit, and it was.
He says it in First Class first.
Yeah, First Class. Yeah.
Okay. And then Days Future Past, Charles tells him to fuck off.
Yeah.
He says it in First Class. Yeah.
Then you look at Logan, where it's very dark. That's the X-Men I want. I don't want the whole glitz and glamour and the forced little comedy in there, and I need to see that darkness. I need to see that grittiness, and also throw in a little comedy where it fits, not where it's supposed to be forced. I don't think the MCU can do that.
I can't believe you guys are all agreeing with me. I'm
gonna play both sides.
I thought this was a
not
nuclear.
agreeing, but I do see points in the argument.
I'm gonna play both sides here, man.
Okay. All right, go on.
I agree with you. I agree with all your points that I think the MCU has become too safe. We've talked about it. There aren't any stakes. I don't think all of the movies kind of blend together at this point. They all look like they're directed by the same person. At least Bryan Singer brought his own flair to those movies. But I will say, I think the MCU is going to.
Kiwi, you're triggering Kiwi.
They're going to. They're definitely. If we can guarantee they're going to make the costumes better. That'll be the number one thing. I think they're going to give them more colorful, comic accurate costumes, which I'm excited for.
Okay.
But they're also, we can guarantee they're going to race swap. They're going to gender swap. They're going to force some stuff in there that's not needed because X-Men already has that in there. They have blue and green characters and like literal black smoky characters, but they're going to race swap a bunch of characters. They're going to do some stuff that we don't like.
What do you guys think about this?
Great points, philosophical pickle.
One more thing. I got one more thing to say. I think that you guys are right about the not the edginess, but the places that the Fox movies would go. Even though I only think that 3 out of the 9 are good, those 3 are great, absolutely great. I don't think there will be a single moment in the new X-Men movies that are as good as when Charles is teaching Magneto about rage and serenity, and he shows him that flashback of his mom, and he's crying, or when fucking Michael Fassbender says, "All right, I'm going to count to 3 and move this coin through your head," and he moves the coin through the villain's head, and you see the blood come out. I don't think they're going to go there. They're going to have an action scene happening, and they're going to throw a fucking joke in there. I don't want to see Cyclops joking. I don't want to see. They're going to make every character jokey, and I'm just very worried about that.
And think about this: there's already rumors or theories of race bending Magneto and Professor Xavier, right? And the theory is maybe put him in during the Civil Rights Movement or the Jim Crow South, something like that, right? If you are a fan of those time period films, because I want to see Jim Crow South. I want to see the Civil Rights Movement. I want to see that. And I just don't think the MCU will take it there. You're right. I think they're going to be very safe with it. I think they're going to kind of beat around the bush, and that's not what I want.
Well, I think as well, just to give the MCU some, you look at something like Black Panther. Now, my problem is that I don't know that the MCU does very well just doing kind of subtle politics like, Fox actually did in a way, as well as, DC, Warner Brothers, when you think of like something like The Dark Knight. The politics seamlessly kind of were woven into the story rather than being there on the surface where actual people were saying the politics of the writer, right? Like they were actually speaking it. It was actually just woven into the film seamlessly. And so that's my kind of problem with the MCU's approach to this. So I think they might even attempt to try and cover the politics of the X-Men, but do it in a way that's kind of like, like just obvious in a way, and try and make the parallels between the politics of the X-Men and the real world very obvious and on the nose. And I think the MCU really does that. It's like the MCU is best when it's just non-political fluff, to be honest. I'm sorry. Even though I like some of that stuff, I do think that it's better when it's not trying to explore. I think DC and Fox did that much better. I'll give them that.
I want to put out my own hot take, just adding on to all this. I have a feeling that this could be very controversial, but I think it would be an interesting way to take one of the characters, and you guys can tell me how much you hate this idea, because I hate it as a fan, but I love it as a story writer. Rogue as a white gay male.
Tell me more. Why?
Basically, because Rogue can't touch anyone, can she?
What are you? Where are you going with this
storyline? It's basically stopping the gay man from like loving who he wants to love, and like when he goes into gay clubs, he like sometimes gets drunk and can't help himself, and then starts killing gay people.
As long as he takes
Why does it
out,
have to be
he or
gay,
she
though?
takes out Captain Marvel.
Yeah, why does
As
it
long
have
as they
to be
take out
gay?
Captain Marvel, I'm good.
Kiwi, I hate that.
I mean, we kind of saw that in the
I
New
hate it as
Mutants,
well.
right?
I hate it as well.
No, but you
I
know,
just think it's a funny concept as like a story writer just turning like a character
no,
like
but
Rogue
I'm
into
saying,
like
yeah,
a
like
black male.
I don't think that has to be Rogue, though, does it? I mean, like that could be just another
Well,
mutant with
one other
similar
character
powers.
can go and kill someone for wanting to love. Well, basically, the point I'm trying to make is you're stopping someone from loving someone else, and then you could add politics to that.
Maybe.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
something that the MCU will do. That's why I'm worried, because they're going to do something like that.
Okay, but have they done it though? You've got to ask yourself, bro. Have they done it? All have gone revealed so far. Like if we're talking about like political stances or anything, like I think they've gone and said Valkyrie. I think they've gone and said she's the only gay character in the MCU, which was sort of obvious.
Yeah, I mean, with all this representation going around, they still don't have a gay character. I think that's pretty appalling, to be honest.
Well, it's going to be in the Eternals.
They are.
The Eternals.
Hulkling, won't they?
Yeah, the Eternals does have a.
The Eternals apparently has an openly LGBTQ character,
and he has to be the black guy, of course.
Yeah. All right, let's get back on topic. So nobody disagrees with me. Like,
okay, so no,
now, if you do it character by character, you might have a debate.
But I agree on the argument.
Now, if you want to talk about
I'm
okay,
shocked.
I got you, Nerd Man.
I thought philosophical pickle would be especially. All right, go on. I have some great points to argue.
Let's go original trilogy. The original trilogy of the X-Men movies are, I like them because I grew up with them, but they are not X-Men. You never see the team actually work together. Wolverine's the fucking leader. They shit on Cyclops. Rogue isn't Rogue. Their costumes are black leather, and all of those points. Then yeah, the MCU will be better in a visual tone. And I think if the MCU does one thing better than Fox, it's team movies. You see the Avengers actually working together, using their powers.
Mm-hmm.
You never see. That's something I wanted in the Fox movies, to see the X-Men. They're all just kind of doing things separately, but they never actually intertwine their powers. You never see, like, Nightcrawler will occasionally teleport somebody somewhere, but that's it. And then, like, I want to see Cyclops' fucking beams bouncing off Wolverine's claws, and fucking Rogue flying people up and stealing people's powers, and Nightcrawler teleporting people around, and Storm fucking using her lightning to bounce off of something that fucking Beast is doing. I think that Marvel will get that part right. So in that part, the action, the costumes, I think they're going to have it, but I'm not sure if they're going to go as deep in the character work as they had in First Class, Logan, Days of Future Past. So if we're talking about character work, I think you can't beat the Fox movies.
The characters aren't going to be as good.
Well, this is a thing, right? Because it's already rumored that Wolverine's going to have his own show. So I'm assuming it's a rumor. I don't know how true it is.
It is a rumor, yeah.
Okay.
And if that is true, I'm assuming we're going to get a young original X-Men. You know, the Cyclops, the Beast, all the maybe 4 or 5 X-Men, right, coming together, much like they did First Class in a way. So we might not get the whole, like, and that'll be cool to see Cyclops bounce laser out Wolverine's blades and just hitting a Sentinel or something like that. That'll be dope. But I don't know if we're going to get any of that.
Let me go off on Fox. Let me go off on Fox for a moment, though. Fox X-Men, because Jesse makes a great point, which has always been my fucking problem with the Fox X-Men movies. It has been the Wolverine show from the very beginning, sidelining all of the characters. Look, Fox had one fucking job. And I remember my heart sank every time I walked out of a cinema in, when the X-Men first came out, because I was a huge X-Men animated fan, huge X-Men comics fan. And they had one fucking job: put the X-Men animated show on the fucking screen. That's what we wanted to see at that time. We wanted to see Rogue, proper Rogue, like adult Rogue, who can fly and is super strong. We wanted to see Gambit. We wanted to see, all of these badass characters interacting, including Wolverine, because we loved Wolverine as well. But instead, they hyper-focused on Wolverine for some reason. They did make the X-Men kind of, and I suppose that's, the voice of the director, and I don't blame him for this, but they made it more of a kind of coming out of the closet allegory instead of a racial allegory, which I think is a little bit more compelling, to be fair, but like not because of my race, but because I think that the politics of that is a little bit more explosive, should I say. But like the point is that I think they could have, had both of those elements playing together, but they made it much more of, as I said, like it's a coming out kind of allegory, as opposed to like the kind of racial kind of allegory that it originally was. And then, but yeah, as I was saying about the Wolverine thing, the thing about what they did is they hyper focus on Wolverine. They leave all the rest of the mutants out to, I don't know, just to fester and not really, I don't remember one good mutant battle in that whole X-Men series, because all of the X-Men battles that they had, all of the X-Men fights was the same powers over and over again. We see Magneto being the only OP guy doing anything sick. You get people who can move things with their mind. Oh, big whoop-de-doo. You don't get any of the cool mutant powers.
I just thought of one.
You don't get any of the cool mutant powers that you saw in the X-Men actual TV show, animated show. And it was just like
I just thought of.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Last Stand, Kitty Pryde, and I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Trash ass Juggernaut.
Trash. Yeah, it was trash. Yeah.
I mean, you're right there, man. They shit on every character but Professor Xavier, Magneto, and Wolverine. Storm was useless. Cyclops was useless.
Mystique as well.
Beast was pretty cool.
Yeah, Mystique was good, but who the fuck wanted a great Mystique? I didn't ask. Nobody was asking to make Mystique.
Who wanted her to be naked with slick back hair? Like,
yeah, like
because it was what's her model's name?
Rebecca something.
Romaine Stamos at the time, or Rebecca Romaine. Because it was her, that's why they did what they did with her. And it was trash.
No, it's because it was
then they got
cheap.
Jennifer Lawrence.
No. I'll tell you why. Every decision seemed to be from those X-Men movies. Let's make this the cheapest film possible because we know that X-Men fans are going to come and watch this movie. We know that Wolverine fanboys will come and watch this movie. So let's spend as little money on this as possible because they never showed anything at all, even remotely cool, that the X-Men could actually do, or
they admitted
that their villains could do.
They admitted they had budgetary issues.
X-Men 1 was $75 million. Shit, he's not wrong.
Yeah, they admitted last year that they had big budgetary issues and they had to like cut a lot of stuff and like they were handcuffed basically because the budget was low. But dude, yeah, the X-Men 2, the sequel to X-Men, is a literal Wolverine movie with side characters. Yeah. And in the third movie, they kill Cyclops in the first 20 minutes and take Cyclops' story from the Phoenix Saga. That should have been him fucking deciding if he needs to kill Jean or not, having that fucking great conflict within him to kill the woman he loves. They literally took it from him and gave it to Wolverine. Like, and that's why I grew up hating Wolverine, is because I love Cyclops and they shit on him. And like, I've grown to like him.
I agreed with the first part of your statement, and then you said you liked Cyclops, and I was like,
You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy.
Dude, you guys are give him a chance. Give him a chance. Cyclops. I know he's a dick. He's deeper than people think.
Is trash, man.
There's a first class X-Men first class comic where they're all playing in the mansion, like a fucking Iceman and Angel are throwing around a football, and fucking they knock Cyclops' glasses off, and he fucking shoots a hole in the wall, and he's like thinking about that all day, that he can't even throw a football around because of his powers. Think about it. Every one of these characters, like other than Rogue, like Rogue and Cyclops are the two characters that their powers fundamentally stop them from being a regular person. Like he's deeper than people think. Like he can't even have fun because if he opens his eyes, he can kill people.
Dude, he's not on the Rogue's level. Come on, Rogue can't touch people. He just has to wear glasses all the time.
That's why he's uptight. He's uptight.
But I'll say this. Look, I like Cyclops' energy in the X-Men. I like disliking Cyclops. It's not like I'm saying this as a kind of... I like him as a character because he's part of that love triangle with Wolverine, and you kind of like want Wolverine to get Jean, but you understand. I don't. One thing I'll say another hot take on the X-Men is Wolverine's a fucking bitch, man. Wolverine is like I've never understood
He's
why
overrated.
people. I never understood why people feel sorry
Hugh
for
Jackman.
this fucking character. Like, so your whole big trauma, your whole big tragedy is that somebody like took you to some secret base and made you invulnerable. Basically, they infuse you with some metal that
they
basically
tortured him for days. They did torture him. If you read the 90s
torture
comics, they
him.
tortured the shit out of him.
Well, you don't get that from the X-Men movies or the X-Men cartoon. All you see is him. It's like one day of like really like being, being
Tortured.
tortured. I don't know, but like okay, and then after that he's like invulnerable, and you're like, why is he so moody? And then when you start, even though I did really feel for him and I wanted him to get Jean Grey because I do like Wolverine, and I wanted him to get Jean Grey, I started thinking about it. This guy's been macking on this guy's woman. Like one of his teammates, one of his friends' woman behind his back for years. Not even just like he did it once or twice. He had a little bit of a, what do you call it? Like, thanks for that. He had a little bit of a mishap or something like that. This guy's actively trying to pursue this guy's woman for like years. And people are all on his side for it. So Wolverine is a weird one for me. I find him like a very I like him a lot, but he's a bizarre character when you kind of break it up.
When they were reintroduced in the 90s, like people just loved Wolverine. So like when 2000 came, he was the hot character. That's why they made the movies about him. And like he caught fire, and I don't know why he's cool, but he's not that cool.
I mean, he's cool, he's savage, he has that Napoleon complex, He's just I love Gambit's actually my favorite Wolverine.
Gambit's my
I'm not
favorite,
Wolverine, get X-Men and I mean
Gambit
they
is
shit
awesome,
on him.
Gambit is cool.
God, why did they shit on him?
Gambit and Rogue were my favorite. I love that Gambit and Rogue. What is this guy?
Is he wearing pants?
I think he's
it's always that bloody joke, isn't it? I'm doing a Wolverine impression.
Oh, okay. Cool,
and dude,
man.
we need a Gambit with a realistic Louisiana accent. Like with a realistic, you know what I'm saying? Like Gambit talking like this, you know what I'm saying? Do a realistic Louisiana accent. Like,
Yeah,
that's my trash. That's my trash Gambit accent.
But okay, let's get back on point. All right. So yeah, no, I absolutely agree that the Fox movies were by and large awful. But one thing I will say for them, and that is that they were, I think, they were having hits and misses, but they were having some interesting films along the way, right? And I thought they were, I wouldn't say getting better, but like there was something happening before they just quit and gave up. But another problem I have with the X-Men going to the Marvel universe, and it's a problem I've had since the comics, is I've never understood why the X-Men mutants are the ones, or mutants in general, are hated by humanity, but Spider-Man and Iron Man and all of these other super beings, nobody fears them. It feels to me always like the X-Men should just be in their own universe.
Yes.
I don't really get them. And I know they're going to try and want to team up with Black Panther and Storm and do all of those kind of crossovers. And I don't know that you can really explore the themes of the X-Men when you have all of that stuff going on. It just doesn't make sense. Like the Avengers are heroes, but the X-Men are somehow like, everyone fears them.
The only thing I can assume is that with the multiverse or the eternal, whatever the hell is going to happen, something's going to change in reality and people are going to behave the hell. I don't know. And you're right, though. It doesn't make sense, right? You're right. You got Iron Man, who's this billionaire who puts on the suit and he's saving everybody. You have who's another mutant type of Avenger. They have name of a mutant-looking Avenger.
Hulk,
I can't think of
Hulk. Kind of like people would hate him,
but in the MCU they love him, right? When he turns into, I guess, Planet Hulk, Bruce Banner and Hulk combined, they're one.
Hulk.
People taking pictures with him. They're taking pictures with the green guy. So I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do it.
So they're gonna have to change it and make it to where the X-Men do something specific to make the public hate them. Because you're right, and especially that the MCU has set up that people love these heroes. So I don't know why they would hate mutants. They're either gonna have to change it fundamentally, or they're gonna force some politics in there to make it work.
Or maybe it's an alternate universe.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
I reckon it's
But Kevin Feige is not gonna pass the opportunity to have the X-Men hang with the characters that are already making them billions of dollars. They're gonna have Avengers versus X-Men. They're gonna team up. I don't think there's any way that he's gonna make them. They might come.
Made with Skrulls.
They might come from a different universe, but I think they're gonna be in our universe.
All right, so
I think
guys,
Kiwi as Wolverine in the MCU.
Yeah,
I will beat that Wolverine.
What the hell is that? Did he just change into that?
No,
that's just a
freeze
picture.
frame.
Oh, I thought he just changed into it because he's always changing into me. All right, so guys, do we have any are we on the same page about this? Should we go to the comments? Because it seems like we're all on the same page about
I think we are, because is Marvel gonna get a Magneto as good as Michael Fassbender, or a Professor X as good as Patrick Stewart? I don't think they are.
Okay.
I think you can improve on that, to be honest. I think they could get something.
But they get a better story.
Yeah, they could get.
What I think would be a fun conversation. What I think would be a fun conversation is, who would you guys cast? And it has to be known people as your X-Men for the MCU.
I'm coming out.
Talk about that. Yeah,
I'm coming out with a video about my fan cast pretty soon, because I have one commenter on all my he comments on a bunch of my videos, and he's like, "Where's your X-Men fan cast?" So I got a video coming out on that.
Cool.
Yeah, we will definitely maybe do a couple of our fan castings after. Let's get to the comments, because maybe they'll strike up some conversation. So how about this? It's dumb, but the only real reason that has ever been given for the mutants is something you are born with, and everyone else is a human mutate. Something they were given externally. So yeah, but how would the general public know that of Spider-Man? Why wouldn't they just assume he's a mutant?
And aren't people more passionate towards people who are born with illnesses instead of getting them? People who are born with sicknesses, we're more compassionate towards them. So you would think they would like the X-Men more. They would feel bad for them.
Maybe.
All right, let's look here. They could go the direction of the current X-Men comics, where they're their own nation. That's true. What do you make of that, guys? Like Genosha and stuff. Would that work for you?
It could work.
Yeah, maybe.
It could work.
Man.
I think. I mean, maybe that could be their excuse of where they've been this whole time. That's my question: is how are they going to introduce the X-Men? Were they on Genosha? Are they from another reality? Are they from the past? Are they in the quantum realm? Are they from our reality? Have they been hidden? Has Professor X been hiding there? I've always thought, and my brother was telling me that he thinks that it might be Professor X is controlling. He mind wiped every human on the planet to make them think the X-Men don't exist. And he's gonna finally reveal them.
Yeah.
Anybody hear that?
There was a bit of stuff going on. Sorry.
I had my earpods in, and I was taking off my mask, and the earpods were rubbing against the mask.
Okay, dude, say that last point just.
Do you guys think that the X-Men maybe have always been on Earth, but to protect them and to protect their identity, Professor X has been projecting and wiping the minds of every human on the Earth for the past 30 years, and then for some reason they're going to come out and finally be shown now?
There'll be a big explosion sometime, some reason caused, I think, by Quantum Mania and Kang. I think that's what's going to happen.
Maybe. I mean, either.
Well, yeah, but that's lazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, either one would.
But the MCU is just lazy and full stop, dude.
Well, when the Eternals come out, I guess it'll be explained.
Can we think of a good natural way to bring them in? I can't think of a great way to introduce them now.
Yeah, here we go. Mums get infertile, whatever, well, with some type of explosion, some type of poison gas. Then the babies come out, they're all fucking weird and shit, and they've got powers.
Or
But then the babies have to grow up. So are the babies when they're 20? Is Spider-Man 50? Or did it happen in the 90s? Or the
happened in the 90s? Let's say that.
Why haven't we heard about this? I'm just saying, like every explanation somebody
Marvel's
can give.
Lazy as hell. They explained the whole of Endgame with a fucking rat.
Yeah. Hey, that's the one universe where they win. The one possibility where they win. That rat.
Yeah, that rat. Exactly. That's fucking weird. Great math, man.
That's called what we call convenience writing.
Yeah. So Cyclops is actually tight. Yeah, exactly. Like Doctor Strange relied on that rat in his plan.
Yeah.
No.
So, anyway,
maybe
Cyclops
Doctor Strange was the rat.
Maybe. All right, Cyclops is actually tight, but the movies don't show it. I don't know, man. Like
Cyclops is tight, bro. Cyclops, if you read the comics, Cyclops is tight. The cartoons and the live action don't really show it, but that dude is nobody to F with.
Yep. He's not like Captain America or Superman. He's not an aspirational hero. I don't.
No,
people go on like he's just the leader. That's all he is. He's the leader of the X-Men, and he's like the one. He's like the one who follows the rules.
But he's like the dad who you never see your dad because he's always at work, and when you do see him, he's always talking about work. Like that's all his life is protecting the X-Men, protecting mutants.
Yeah,
and he's so reserved that he comes off like a douche, but it's because he's reserving those feelings, and he's like. You man, you got to read some fucking Cyclops, man.
Yeah.
No, dude, I read a lot of X-Men comics, and I read a lot of like the Cyclops' affair with Psylocke, his about his brother and his family growing up and all of that kind of stuff. I know the Cyclops character. I like him as an X-Man. I don't particularly like Storm, for instance. Storm was never one of my favorites either.
Really?
No, it's just like she's a cool character to have in and amongst the X-Men. Like I was always much more a Beast, Gambit, Rogue, and Wolverine guy. That's just like me. I like the more quirkier characters, but then you need the other characters to balance them out. Like so I don't think I need Cyclops there. I'm not saying I don't need Cyclops there. One thing I would do, I would look into if I was like the MCU, is look into some of the other X teams rather than going straight to that main core. Like Generation X were pretty cool, like the teenagers who were the X-Men. I would look into stuff like that as well, just in case, because there's lots of really rich stories that haven't been tapped in that. Let's just go up here. It was if we want to nitpick, they got Charles Xavier wrong. Who did?
Which Charles Xavier you're talking about?
Which Charles Xavier you're talking about?
I mean, they did make him British for no reason. Which people don't even think about that. Like he's not British. He grows up in New York in the comics. He's not a British guy. Plus, I think that they made him a little
true.
And he's also more of a douche in the comics. That might be what she's talking about. He's a little more softer in the movies.
Well, he's a little bit douchey with the James McAvoy version.
He's a little more. He's more comic accurate than fucking. I almost called him Charles because he is Charles Patrick Stewart.
Well, he was like 80 when they did that movie. So
yeah, he was like.
Do you guys feel like Patrick Stewart is just basically playing himself?
Yeah, which was perfect, I think. I mean, dude, he's one of those characters that I think he was perfect. Could have been a little more douchier, could have been a little more manipulative, but I mean, I liked him for what he was. I don't know if you can get much better than him. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to see Deadpool as Professor Xavier. I'd like to see an alternate universe where Deadpool is Professor Xavier and see how many things he can fuck up at the school being the headmaster for a couple of days.
I'm not a big Deadpool guy. I'm tired of Deadpool already.
Really?
I know exactly what you mean.
I agree. I agree.
I know exactly what you mean as well.
hot
But seriously,
I think the fans are the ones that have
costume's
made
so
it
cool,
like the fans. Deadpool is the Harley Quinn of Marvel for me. Not like they're not the same character, but the fact that people wear their stuff and they talk about them so much, and then when I actually read them in the comics, they're just kind of okay. And I'm just tired of hearing about them. I love Deadpool 1 and I like Deadpool 2, but I don't know how much more I can take of it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Dude, Ashley's gonna kill me. I didn't even think to send her. Like, did she want to join? I didn't even think about it.
I think Nerdman.
Don't kill me.
I invited her, but that's
okay.
Cool. That's good. They will give Logan his classic costume. MCU wins by a landslide. Oh,
I don't think Logan should be in the movie until the
fan
sequel.
service wise, yes. Fan service wise, yes.
They need to save Wolverine for the sequel.
Yeah,
give him a
you're
movie.
introducing the mutants into the world.
Dude,
like you're introducing the mutants.
Mortal Kombat.
You're introducing the mutants to the world, so you need to start out from the beginning without Wolverine. Start out with the original core, then build up. If they choose to do it that way.
And we've got enough.
You know what? I'm fed up of that. I want to see the X-Men from the animated 90s cartoon. Full stop. Period. I want to see those guys. I'm fed up of them going to the old team. The old team weren't that great. I didn't like when it was just Beast, Jean, Cyclops, and who else was in there? Iceman Angel. They're boring in comparison with Gambit, Rogue. I want to see Gambit and Rogue done properly, first of all.
Yes, I think Gambit should be there.
And I don't think
I already got a fan cast for him already.
I don't mind Wolverine. I think Wolverine might be, like maybe bring it towards the middle or the end. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe. What did you say?
The only way you could bring in Wolverine is by getting Karen Egerton in my opinion.
Idris Evan. Sorry, you're kind of like I can't hear what you're saying.
Taron Egerton.
Oh, Taron Egerton. It's not a bad casting. That would.
You're a young buck.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad casting. But
so are we doing fan casting now? Or we're gonna do that later.
I'm just upset.
I think we should do a video dedicated to that. Like,
but
I know I am.
Yeah,
but I want to.
Hey, Tyler, JG, Nerdman.
Andrea, what's up,
Nerdman? I want to address something you said though. Nerdman,
Yeah,
you said you want to see the the '90s cartoon put in a movie, but you also told me at one time that you're tired of Magneto. So do you want? But he's the villain in the '90s cartoon.
No, he's not the only villain. They had loads of villains in the '90s.
Yeah, but
cartoon.
he's the main dog.
Yeah, because you need that Magneto of Professor Xavier.
You can say the Sentinels might have been like the main villains, but
no, there was no main villain. There was loads of different villains. Each episode had like.
I think Magneto showed up the most. Magneto and the Sentinels showed up the most.
You could save Magneto for the third film. I think you could just build him up and like. Yeah, save him for the third film.
Ooh, I don't know about that, man.
I think build him
maybe
up.
second.
Guys,
no later than second.
I've got to say something though. Like, Mortal Kombat is just coming out. It's got terrible box office. People are upset because Johnny Cage isn't in it. They're like, it's a prequel to Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat. Yet they're calling it Mortal Kombat. And people were like pissed off about that. I've never seen Mortal Kombat. I saw the movie and I thought it was all right. But like, they saved like everyone's favorite character for the sequel. That's basically what you guys are proposing, and people do not like that.
But Kiwi,
they're like going
Johnny
Magneto.
Cage. Johnny,
are you talking about Magneto or Wolverine?
Talking about Wolverine. Wolverine.
Yeah,
he's the Johnny Cage
on that.
But no. But Johnny Cage didn't get 9 movies over the past 20 years. Like people are thirsty for him. People aren't thirsty for Wolverine anymore. I think if Johnny Cage had bit. Like the fact that we haven't seen Johnny Cage in 30 years is the reason people are like, God damn, I want to see him finally. We've got enough Wolverine. He was in 9 movies.
Yeah.
I think we can save him for the first movie. Because you need to develop the Cyclops gene thing before Wolverine comes in and throws a wrench in that.
I think you could introduce him and then
post-credit scene.
not even a post-credit scene. You could kind of introduce him and then He just doesn't want to join the X-Men. Like he's just like, I'm not interested. You know.
So Deadpool 2.
What?
Deadpool 2 then.
Who wasn't interested in Deadpool 1? Deadpool 2? I don't. Oh, was Wolverine in Deadpool
wasn't
2?
interested in Deadpool 2 about joining the X-Men.
Oh yeah, okay, so something like that. Yeah, I don't know, but like and then right at the end he joins the battle or something like that. But I think that's true to Wolverine's character. He doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't.
He could be
join.
the
so that they could use
the
that
Hulk.
time to focus on the rest of the X-Men.
He could be the Hulk of the X-Men. Like in the Avengers, you don't see Hulk until the final battle, and then it blows your mind. Maybe they could, if they introduce him, don't show him, and then he comes in berserk. But even like now that we've gotten Logan and we've seen what his claws can actually do, like anything in the MCU, PG-13 is going to be disappointing.
Yeah, that's my favorite X-Men in the MCU. PG-13.
No.
I don't want.
Dude, PG-13 Wolverine. It's boring. Showing the camera behind the character so you can't see any blood, you can't see the slice. I don't want to say that. That's boring action.
Okay. Well, guys, here's one thing that would be really cool. Imagine if they cast Wolverine, no one finds out about who he is, the press doesn't get hold of who he is, and he just shows up at the end of the film, I'm Wolverine, but you see him at like the start of the film, you have no idea who this guy is. They like give you a glimpse of him at the start of a film somewhere, maybe not even a mutant film, let's say Eternals or whatever, and then he shows up at the end of the battle, just at the battle, he pulls out his claws and stuff. That would get people pumped. I
wish they would hide every casting. I wish they would hide every big casting, but I mean, I don't think that's realistic. That would be great.
Well, they did it with Baby Yoda.
That's true. That would be great if they did that.
I got one better. Here you go. Hear me out. End credit scene. You don't see it, but you hear a lot of slashing going on. Then all of a sudden, a door kicks open. You only see him from the back. You see Wolverine after he escapes. And he's running down to the snow, whatever he is. You only see him from the back. You don't see him from the front.
I think that would be a real
slash and everything like that.
That's an after credit scene that they would do, like show Wolverine escaping his imprisonment.
That's a common one. I like Tyler's more. Tyler Moore.
Mine's better.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go through a couple of these. So I don't think the MCU needed Arad to make Spider-Man so focused on Iron Man. Yeah, I agree. I mean, does anybody else disagree with that?
I disagree.
That's pretty
I
much
think
true.
we can all agree. We want Spider-Man to be Spider-Man.
Yeah. Look, Sinister, Apocalypse, the Phalanx, Omega Red, all of these were main villains in the X-Men animated series. I don't think you need to introduce Magneto so quickly. If Magneto is a villain again in I'm Going to Scream, absolutely agreed with that. It's also his powers aren't that interesting when you think about how they look visually. Magneto. It might as well just be telekinesis.
But they haven't even done him right, though.
And he can do this. He can do this. He can put it straight through someone's head. Blood splattering out the back. Dead.
But they haven't even done him right. He can make magnetic fields. He doesn't need metal to do it. Like, they haven't even done him right yet. Like, he's way more... They had to nerf him in the Fox movies. I think him, manipulating magnetic fields, that could look cool. Him turning the metal rods into strings of like metal Twizzlers and putting it inside the Sentinels, that was cool. But you're saying like what else could we see? Like they've already done a bunch of metal manipulation. Like what else is there
with
to
the
see?
MCU graphic effects department, they can do anything, dude. Seriously.
I agree. I think there's more to show for Magneto.
Yeah. And what Fox did was the simplest thing.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, exactly. But
it's called saving the budget.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying there are other X-Men with cool powers that I would rather see them explored, or like villains with cool powers that I'd rather see that explored. Even like when that's why I like X-Men First Class so much, because you had the Kevin Bacon playing I can't remember his name, but like what a cool way, the way they visualized his powers and stuff like that. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. Like that's more of what I wanted to see. Villain. He was a great villain, yeah. But still,
he looks so
even that film,
he looks so stupid with that. He looks so stupid with that Magneto helmet on, though. He looked like a dweeb,
and that's why he's the villain, because he looks stupid.
I know he was. I wanted them to kill him. And they did
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's like US agent with that stupid mask on.
Yep.
So what do you think of this? John, Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, and Colossus would be a great roster.
That's basically an original roster right there, for the most part.
I don't like it as a roster because they're all too clean cut.
I think so. Yeah, we need to you need a good roster of people.
I don't want to see Jean again. I'm pissed off with her character.
I think you need Gambit to play off of Cyclops. That would be a great dynamic. I think the stern versus the jokey. I would like to see Nightcrawler. I like Storm. I think just take Kitty Pryde out and replace her with Gambit, and I like that roster.
I think you'd take Kitty Pryde out, replace her with Rogue. You take Nightcrawler out, replace him with Gambit. I'm sorry, Nightcrawler is overrated.
Okay,
his powers are more interesting than Gambit.
Are you kidding me? Nightcrawler's powers are more interesting than Gambit's powers.
Gambit can make things pink and make him explode. Nightcrawler's a teleporter. We haven't seen him dude, that scene at the beginning of X2, that's one of the coolest X-Men scenes ever. Yeah. They could do that, but better with today's CGI. Seeing Nightcrawler go like just destroying people with his teleportation. I love Gambit, but that's cooler than Gambit throwing exploding cards.
No, Gambit can do martial arts. He's got his stick and he's got those exploding cards. Plus, he can.
He's got his stick.
Gambit is cool, man.
Dude,
the Gambit is cool. I do love Gambit,
and the personality as well. I'm sorry, I don't want Nightcrawler with his, I'm a Christian Russian saintly character. It's just boring. You need those like bad boys to to play off the strong stern characters, and Cyclops is the best strong stern character. So is Jean Grey. You want like a Gambit and a Rogue, like Rogue with her moxie and her, and definitely I think Rogue's powers are like cooler when she's got her flight and super strength. Well,
she's gonna have to get rid of Captain Marvel before she gets to fight. So I think she took Captain Marvel's abilities before.
Take Captain Marvel's powers and then go away, and then
that would be great. I would
Brie Larson is dead.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Kill off Brie Larson.
What about just take you could take Colossus off, I think, and keep Nightcrawler, maybe. All right,
because you need a brute, so I would keep Colossus.
Colossus is good. I like Colossus.
You could have Cyclops bouncing his beam. You could have Cyclops bouncing his beams off Colossus. There's a lot of team ups that you could do with Colossus's powers.
Oh, right.
Exactly. Yeah. But do you guys agree that Jean Grey is just a boring character now?
Dude, she's very boring in the comics. If you look back, Jean Grey is kind of just a nothing character in the comics. She's there just to die for the rest of the team.
They target twice.
But they had to make her Phoenix because people were so bored with her. That was their way of making her interesting. No, I'm serious. In the comics, that's why they did that to Jean Grey.
I agree with you.
They were like, she was so boring, they had to do something with her. So it's kind of funny that she's been the
freaking seconds.
Yeah.
Ashley, don't start with me.
Okay, so I say yeah. I say save Jean for the sequel as well.
Far From Home is a good movie. I am so sick of people coming for Tom Holland. Great
I will
movie.
backslap Tom Holland. I cannot stand him. His face alone.
Dude, no. Tom Holland is great. He's so great.
All right.
I want to be in this suit, Nick. Tom Holland is awesome.
Guys, we're coming up to an hour, so I do want to wrap this up. It seems like my hot take was I thought this was going to be a nuclear bomb that I dropped on everyone, but it seems like everyone, for the most part agrees. The X-Men franchise was not the best with Fox, but I think it's always good to have competition anyway, and I do think that they made at least some movies that the MCU would never make. And I like those movies, and I like the tone of them a little bit more than some of the
you just made a good point about competition. I would like to see two different companies tackling the same characters at once. Like if two different companies had Marvel characters, like if Fox still had them and the MCU still had them, then they would be even more like we got to make a great movie. We got to outdo them. Like that's why competition
Disney's
is
buying
good.
up all the characters now. The only ones they don't have the hands on at the moment is Spider-Man, right?
That's why they're going to get lazy because they don't have any competition anymore to make like they're making good movies. I love the MCU, but
Dude,
they're not
they don't
making
have any competition at all. Not even DC. DC is the laziest bunch of big CEO corporate assholes. Sorry, I probably shouldn't use that word, but they're
It's
idiots.
okay, man.
They are idiots.
They're
Those
incompetent.
corporate
Yes.
guys. Yeah,
They are a little
That's
bit
the word I'm looking
incompetent.
for.
Yeah.
Nerdman, the last
A
thing
little
I'll
bit.
say.
Ooh.
Yeah, go on.
Really-
Last words on this,
The
man.
last thing I will
words on
say is if they announced the X-Men in the MCU 5-6 years ago, I would be absolutely pumped and I would be fighting you on this. Now in 2021, and then the X-Men will come out probably like 2025, 2026. I'm not as excited. I'm kind of
I don't think they're going to leave it that long, dude.
because dude, they didn't even announce, but they have so many movies. They announced movies all the way until 2023, and X-Men isn't on there yet.
I think the best way to introduce the X-Men is to not announce it at all. Keep it quiet as possible. Don't have flipping what's his name? Is it Alfred Molina going out there publicizing that he's in the next Spider-Man movie?
Well, that's true, but they got
completely silent.
Dude, if the rumors didn't come out about Tom Holland them coming in or Andrew Maguire, fucking Tobey Maguire. I mixed them all up. Tobey Maguire and Molina coming back for this movie, and if we just saw it in the movie, it'd be so much better. But they can't help themselves. They have to sell the movie. So we're gonna get a trailer for it. I predict 2025.
I think Kevin's actually going to keep the X-Men quiet. I think people have asked for it so long. They bought Fox. People know it's going to come. They don't. I don't even think they need to promote these movies anymore if it wasn't for the pandemic. The minute you see a poster for a Marvel movie, you're going
Fantastic
to it.
Four.
Doesn't matter how good the trailer is.
Fantastic Four doesn't have a cast or a writer. They only have a director. They don't even have a concept yet, but they made a logo just to let people know it's coming. They're going to do that with the X-Men too, I think.
After they introduce Wolverine, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, guys, this is what Hot Takes Tuesdays is. You never know. Maybe everyone agrees, or you might have the biggest nuclear fight, or debate, ever. So it just depends, man. And that's what I love about it. So this week, randomly, I picked one I was sure Philosophical Pickle was going to come for my throat with, and turns out he agrees. So that's how the cookie crumbles with this one. But guys, thanks again. Thanks for all of the comments. As I said, I always love the comments, and thanks guys. Kiwi, JG Shaolin, always a pleasure having you guys on. And of course, Philosophical Pickle, do go and subscribe and follow his content. It's great content. So apart from that, I'm gonna leave it there. What do I have to say about myself? I have to say subscribe. I think I need you to give me a high five, smash that like button, and of course comment. I love the comments. I always respond to my comments as much as I possibly can. And apart from that, guys, I'm gonna see you on the flip side, and I love you 3000. Peace.
Holla.
Peace.
Bye-bye.